I have in front of me the Esoteric N01XD DAC / streamer. Is this a great value at $20,000? Let's find out. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for being here with me today. I am bringing you my review of the Esoteric N01XD. But before I get into that, you know the drill. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. If you want to see more reviews like this, I urge you to support me. I want to see more likes. I want to see more people subscribing. Anyway, the Esoteric N01XD has been in my room for approximately 2 months. It's been long enough for me to understand what this unit brings to the table, what it does do, and what it doesn't do. So let me get right into it. This unit is the recently released XD series, N01. Part of the magic comes from the internal circuitry, which actually comes from their flagship D1X. It is called the Master Sound Discrete DAC. Okay, that is really what's happening inside this machine. Now, I know in the past, many people have been very critical of the esoteric sound. We used to call it very analytical. I am included in that conversation because I did own the Esoteric K1 Super Audio CD player / DAC. And I remember my time with that unit, one of the greatest components I've owned, but I have to admit it was very analytical sounding. So that has absolutely steered away many of you from the esoteric sound. I'm here to tell you that this device has changed that completely. The new esoteric sound is a complete departure from what we were used to. Now, speaking about the unit itself, it is an incredible, I mean, this is easy 40, 50 pounds, built like a tank. Let's take a look at the rear of the unit so you have an understanding of all the different connections that this brings to the table. We have XLRs out and RCA out. We also have, of course, a clock that you can use, Ethernet connection, USB. We have the ES Link, which is actually a connection that is supposed to be far superior to the rest of the digital connections that we normally see. It is supposed to pass a more pristine signal from point A to point B. Now you see on the bottom, you also have a signal ground, which it could be a great thing if you are grounding your components. I think this is a great add-on in here. Of course, the optical is something that I still love to see on a lot of digital devices because some of you may have a CD player from the 90s, a Sony CD player maybe a Philips CD player that you love dearly, and it's great to have an optical input in here so that you can transform the way your CD player sounds, your old school CD player. Okay, you also have your standard digital XLR in, and the most important thing about this entire machine for me, which is the fact that this is still made in Japan. Why is that important? Why does it matter that it's made in Japan? Because this means that you are probably never going to have to send this in for service or for any sort of repair. As a matter of fact, I don't remember ever hearing from anyone that they had an esoteric product break, unless, of course, there was negligence, mishandle, damage during shipping, things like that. But from normal everyday use, I don't think I've ever heard someone having issues with any esoteric products. Now, moving to the front, the beautiful brushed aluminum that we see here, you have a USB. You have the same display that is known to us by now, and it's a beautiful looking piece overall, okay? It's very streamlined, not a lot of clutter, very nicely laid out. Moving on to the important part, the sound of this piece. Now, I just mentioned to you all that this has been a significant improvement from any previous Esoteric product. That master sound discrete DAC circuitry, which it borrows from their, basically the top of the line DAC that they make, the D1X, which is a mono DAC. This piece brings to the table the following traits when it comes to sound quality. Incredible musicality. It is a very, very romantic sound. I almost felt at times as if I was listening to vinyl, believe it or not. The high frequency, the feeling of the music has this harmonic beauty to it that it completely makes me forget that I'm listening to digital, to streaming music. I don't feel that the unit ever gets fatiguing. That is, again, if you have a system that tends to get a little fatiguing, a little hot on the top end, this unit will certainly help you with that. Another great thing that I was very shocked by was the amount of 3D, the 3D imaging, the feeling that things were popping off the speaker and coming behind my head. I've never heard a DAC in the $20,000 price point that can do what this DAC is doing. I am inside the music. It's surrounding me everywhere. On top of that, it came with a robust bass response. The low registers on this piece were absolutely astonishing. It doesn't even have an external power supply, which is what you typically see anytime we have components with this level of bass output. You see it all the time with preamplifiers that have a separate power supply. That helps isolating the power supply. It lowers the noise. It gives you more detail and it increases the bass. It does all of that. So I'm very shocked to see that this does a lot of that in one single chassis. Another great impressive area was the soundstage. Very big, deep, and wide. Extreme smoothness, but never smoothness that is overly ripe, overdone, if that makes sense. You still get details, you still get the nuances, you still get the information that we normally pick up with our audiophile recordings. But it doesn't force this information down your throat the way other devices do. At times, I almost felt as if I was listening to tubes. It's really a very distinct experience, which is completely shocking coming from Esoteric. It really is. If you have a system right now that is in need of this natural warmth, this musical feeling, this organic presentation, I think this will do the trick. I really feel this will definitely do the trick. It will take you closer to that. When it comes to the application, the app, the Esoteric application, I must say it was one of the easiest apps to utilize. Very nicely laid out. Never had any hiccups. Never had any problems with it hanging up. Never had any issues whatsoever. It worked every time. Even when my Wi-Fi was not really super fast, it worked flawlessly. Loved the Esoteric app. Loved it. Absolutely loved every minute of it. And I believe this is one of the better softwares in the market today. Now, in case you're wondering, is this a streamer? Is this a DAC? It's both. You can stream right through it using Rune or the application, the Esoteric application, which works on Android or Apple. Either way, you have full control over this unit. It is as plug and play as it gets. Literally, connect your Ethernet cable in the back of the unit, XLRs or RCAs out. If you have a music server, plug it into the back of the piece and you're up and running. Simple, no drama, no hiccups, no issues, no extensive technical knowledge with this piece. It is For those of you who are challenged, technologically challenged, it is a very user-friendly unit. Now, of course, you are probably wondering, tell us, Jay, what didn't you like about the unit? We want to know. Okay, I'm going to get right into it. One of the things that I disliked about this product, and as a matter of fact, I'm willing to say all of the Esoteric products, is this. The display. Take a look at this display. It is the oldest looking display I have ever seen. It almost looks like it is from the 90s. I think Esoteric, given the price points, given the competition, should really embark on making a nicer display. Now, yes, we can have a whole discussion as to why displays are not great when it comes to sound reproduction and all the negative aspects of having a display even on while we listen to music. But come on now, you can put a better display than this, Esoteric. This is, to me, unacceptable at this particular price point. Yes, it works. Yes, it does the job, but something a little more attractive wouldn't hurt. And I don't think it can jack up the price by much, if at all. That's one knock that I have against it. Now, another thing that I must say that I don't think it did sonically for me was the decays. I felt like the decays started to happen, but they didn't quite trail off into obscurity, meaning I didn't feel like they went from point A to point B and I can follow it completely until it faded. Okay, it was more like it started and then it just disappeared. I don't know really what happened, where it went. That's one of the biggest criticisms that I have actually for this DAC is the decays for me were not there. Another knock that I have is the fact that it's a very smooth DAC, as I said. So maybe some of you all might feel that, hey, I need a little more bite in the upper registers. I need a little more leading edges. There is probably not as much the tiniest details may escape you, okay? And so that might be a problem to some of you, especially those of you who are used to the DCSs of the world, the MSBs of the world, the typical DACs that we all are accustomed to hearing. This DAC, you might find it a little too relaxed for your liking. This DAC just simply doesn't serve you detail the way MSB and DCS typically do. That, again, is all personal, a personal thing. You may like it, you may hate it. I thought it was phenomenal. I loved it. It didn't bother me at all because what it does do is get you entertained, is get you to listen to music and forget about the tiniest details escaping your hearing. In conclusion, is this DAC worth the $20,000 asking price? Do I see something better at $20K? Granted, I haven't owned everything at $20,000. Every DAC out there that's 20 grand. So I can't speak about those that I haven't owned. But as far as what I've owned, I do believe that this is definitely worth the $20,000 asking price. You get a beautiful chassis. You get the incredible Japanese reliability. You get a great company, okay? This is not some no-name brand. This is Esoteric. In addition to that, it's got the sound. It's got that 3D imaging. It's got the beautiful harmonic presentation that reminds you of vinyl. What's not to like about this component? What's not to like? For 20 grand, it's a complete package in my opinion. And yes, this is definitely Jay's Audio Lab approved. Anyway, I hope you all have enjoyed this content. Please subscribe and hit that like button. More reviews will be coming your way. Take care. maybe I do this one next. Hi-Fi Rose, the streamer.